There we got that. Why are you fighting me, machine? Hey, YouTube, it's Malcolm's Reptile, and we are going to set up my new Viper I just got that I'm really excited about. So while I wait for a few of you to pop in, I'm going to go get my materials and bring them right here on this table, and then we'll start working, right? Here comes most of what I'm going to need today. It's already in the box. Now this will not be the permanent setup. Of course, this is a baby, so we're going to be setting up a baby Viper. So, I was like, did you catch the ceiling on fire? It's actually set from a candle. So, had to turn off the fuse. What's up, Caleb? Caleb, have I told you about this yet, buddy? Because if I have not, you were in the shop today, bro. I went in to get stuff and you weren't there. So you're going to get surprised like everybody else. So, yes. And then we'll slide over to Patreon for just a hot minute. And we're going to talk about this while we do it. A few more things to get ready for this. Now, first of all, I know, Patreon members especially, you're like, what the hell? We had no idea this was coming. Let me tell you the truth of the matter. I had no idea this was coming. Make an adjustment on this light. It's really like too much. There we go. Still too much. I'm going to do a Kurt thing. I'll bounce off the wall. Maybe. Don't break it. There we go. That made it worse. How about this? I just turned it off. There we go. It came as a surprise to me, too. Nobody was more surprised than I. It keeps on downloading from your phone. That's weird. That I got this snake. And it happened last night. It happened quick. I had a chance to pick it up from a friend of mine, actually, who is opening the reptile zoo in Kansas City. I want to say they're called the KC Reptarium. It's going to be pretty awesome. He just got a... I don't even want to spoil it. I'm going to do it. They just got it in a really cool, dragon. Just going to leave it at that. I'll let him talk about it on his channel, but make sure and check out those guys at the KC Reptarium. It's going to be really cool. So, awesome. Yes, make sure and email Nikki if you're on a t-shirt, and we'll talk more about that on the Patreon thing. I've got a whole bunch done to send out. So, and then if you email her on the list, she's going to get the list updated, and we'll go from there. I was hoping to do that, but I got too busy last night, partly because, feed night and then working on this. And then this morning, this actually came and showed up. One of the advantages to having a reptile shop is access to stuff. That doesn't mean the stuff is free. We actually do pay for our own stuff, otherwise we'd all go broke. So, whoops, drop that. So what we're going to use today is a cage by Zilla here. Now I'm going to kind of show you that so you guys get an idea of what I'm working with. I'll kind of tell you why I selected everything before I reveal the animal. So this is simply just a straight up critter cage, right? Critter cage, critter cage, critter cage. So 15 gallon, the reason I like it is it has a spot for a lock here, and it has some pretty positive clicks in the back. So you know your cage is secured. These are really good, nice, secure cages. You have to pry up on them to pop that free, then unlatch it. As long as you're putting something in there, it's going to stay nice and secured. Caleb has a guess. We'll see if Caleb's right. Don't get your hopes up though, buddy. We are going to run a heat mat just for some low ambient. I went with a really small one. I'm not trying to heat the whole thing up with this. We're going to run a really thick layer of substrate. That's what we're doing. I got some cool driftwood. It's out by the lake. And it's been dry for so long. I'm not too worried about it. So we're going to put that in there for some pretty. For some reason, it comes with like a book. Don't care about that. Then these items here that we got. So what we have here is we're going to use this for kind of a hide. This is not a species that's going to want to crawl into more like a rock or something on the back. So we'll set this with a couple exits. It'll be able to come out if it wants. So that is going to be ready to go. More going to be a burrower. So there probably goes your speckled rock theory. Get my water dish. So this is going to be a big enough water dish that it can ramp in there pretty easy and have a nice soak if it wants. Dehydration will be a key with this species we want to avoid. So, and then of course, just a heat mat. If you've never used one of these, I'll kind of show you how really fast. Just a basic Zilla heat mat. These are really low wattage, really nice. They're not going to be a problem. You'll hear things about overheating on these because people don't use these little feet. Use the damn feet, everybody. Use the feet. What's up, Color Cold Bloods? I'm not seeing comments, I'm opening things. So the way these work is you just flip this cage over like so. And again, this isn't going to be so much for a basking spot. This is just going to be to provide a little bit extra ambient temp. These feet, they don't go on the inside, they go on the outside. This is to lift the whole cage up just a wee bit to let that actually flow. So air can flow through. That way it's not getting too hot. And then two, with the amount of substrate I plan on putting in here, it's not going to heat through that, I promise. But this is a species that we're probably going to run, you know, you want to run about 75 to 80, which we're usually almost pretty good on the ambient, and most of it's going to escape at the top, so it's just a little extra heat in kind of an area. You're then going to take your heat mat. I like to run the cord to the back so I don't see it, so make sure I'm planning for that. We're going to kind of stick it right about, you don't have to lick it before you stick it, right about here. So that's where that's going to go, done and done, just like that. These feet actually also give the cord room to travel out and not be pinched. So there we go. It's an 8-watt heater. 8 watts is not going to provide a lot of heat, but since we're already pretty warm in here, it should be just fine. So that's going to sit out right there. I am then going to take our water dish, and I'm going to stick it over here. But before we do that, I guess we should put it on the substrate. So what I'm going to be using here is just some nice Reptile Prime. We use Reptile Prime for almost anything because it honestly works for almost anything. It truly does. So we're going to just use this pretty heavy. And again, because this animal's going to burrow. So if it does burrow down, I don't really want it all the way on the ground. So we're going to use quite a bit of this. Oh yeah, that'll look good. Boom, 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 boom. And then we are going to want to moisten that a little bit. We don't need it crazy, 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 crazy. But in order to start it, because we will be spraying this animal, we will start with the hose the first time. Excuse me. A little coconut dust. It's going to look like I'm putting in a lot of water. This stuff absorbs water so well. I promise you I'm not putting in that much water. Not near as much as you think I am. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. And I'll show you guys. I'll show you. Because I know people have been like, oh my god, that's so much water, so much water, so much water. Okay. And yeah, that's an open hose on full. But if I dig down to the bottom, we're still going to find dry. If we mix this around, it's not going to seem that wet. What I put in there is going to expand greatly. So you're going to have a lot of expansion in there. And as you can see, man, we're running a pretty thick cushion, about like that, of litter. So that'll give that snake a chance to burrow down if it wants, with very little worry of it overheating. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it back here. Now, if you remember, our heat pad is not truly in the corner. It's more right here. So it can heat from here, it cannot be on the heat from here. Has a little bit of options to do what it wants to do. We're going to sink our water dish in right here. Then to kind of bridge the gap, to make it look pretty, we're going to throw some really cool driftwood around here. And the cool thing with where I live is I can always get a lot more of this if I want. And then, I guess that's on the outside, huh? We'll peel that off. So, who is ready to see the animal? Oh! Feels good. For ASMR folks out there, let's show it. I did hear a guess that was correct. I am going to do one thing that's probably fairly stupid, and that's we're going to put the animal in over here. Then I am going to carry the cage. So just want to be very careful not to drop it. So the animal in question will be a Rhino Viper. Let me bring you over here, give you a little bit better view of that. So Caleb was right on his second guess. There she be, little Rhino Viper, right there. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. But let's get it out here. Let's get it into the cage and see how she looks. So that is what we're going to work on right now. I feel very blessed and lucky to be able to have this animal. So it kind of came, it's been on my bucket list. The other one is speckled rattlesnake. So Caleb guessed the two things that he knows, because he knows me pretty well, that I'm over the moon about and want and don't have. So that'll work there. These will keep pretty similar to gaboons, but there are some differences. So you can't just go up just like a gaboon, you know, like there's a little bit of difference, but they can cross be with burdoon. So how we're going to work this, it's really simple. I'm going to take the tape off here. And again, this is taped nice. So you don't want to put I'll show you, there's air holes. So don't put your fingers on the air holes. Okay, don't do that. There is always a chance you can. So just avoid putting your hand on the air holes like I just did. Obviously, I'm watching the snake. I'm at the back with my hands in front. I'm not doing that. Probably overcautious, but it is always something to think about. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the animal. We're going to make sure it's kind of up here. I'm going to pop this a little bit free. I'm watching it. Holding that lid down. Now, here's going to be the tricky part. I'm going to set this down in the cage. Okay, Now I can remove my hand safely. I'll kind of show you how this is looking, if I can. It's kind of hard with one hand. So we've kind of achieved that. This will now let me take a tool and just, I should be able to pop that lid right off, like so, right? Get it out the way, and I can simply hook the snake. And I can place our little Rhino Viper right like so. How cool is that? Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Now, their bites, of course, it's not going to line up for me very good, are not as bad as, say, a Gaboon's are, supposedly, but I'm not going to test that theory. We're going to use a tool. You can use a pair of tongs or a hook to get this out, but just don't use your fingers, you know. Or if you are going to use your fingers, make sure you're out of range. So that would be a thing to definitely watch. Is we're going to go on the back side here, make sure we're out of range. Get that out of there. And there we go, done and done. The only thing I plan on adding is just a display light. That's not going to be on 24/7. We're going to use ambient light in the room for him to get some day-night cycle. And the cool thing is these can cross with Gaboons. So anyway, guys, that is all I got. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm going to end the video, put the lid on, and then put this over in its spot. Probably find a light for it really quick so Patreon can see it in all of its beautiful colored glory. I can tell you the reds are amazing. They're going to develop more colors as they age, and I am really, really, really excited. So thank you guys for sharing this with me. Now, Patreon, I'm going to tell you the story of how this happened, because nobody was more surprised than I. So let me hop off of here, slide over to Patreon really quick. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking out our brand new Rhino Viper. Oh, by the way, one thing I do want to share is this is not an import. It is a captive born. Now, let me say what captive born often means from what I've been told with the snake is it was born from an imported female. So the female was imported, was gravid, and she was born in captivity here, or he, this is a little boy. So it's not like captive bred. It was bred in the wilds, but born here. Some of the Asian vine snakes we had, they were captive born, but not captive bred. So that's what we're dealing with here. So it was born stateside from a female that had been in captivity, but a female that came in had already been bred, got gravid, had babies. All right, I'm going to hop off and switch over to Patreon.